Teams are getting into the postseason. The standings are changing, and we had a one-hit complete game shutout. We'll be discussing all of it on Locked On MLB Game Night.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Hello, I'm Brian McKeon, and welcome to Locked On MLB Game Night. It's every single game, every single night. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which is now the #1 sports podcast network. I'm your host and the host of Locked On Yankees, alongside my partner and the Locked On Padres host, Javi Reyes. Javi, how are we on this Sunday night?
Doing great, man. Doing great. Usually I'm in a bad mood, not bad mood, but a not great mood. And I am in a fantastic one. And we're going to talk about it today because we're reaching that home stretch, man. Long season, but we're reaching the home stretch.
Quick question before we get into all the games. When did you start working on Locked On MLB Game Night? When was the ink dry on your contract for Game Night?
I believe it was right when the Padres got absolutely smacked by the Rangers.
And since then, it's really turned around and the Padres have become a good team. Coincidence? I think not, but let's continue. Mariners 59-66 at the Astros, who are 63-62. Seattle wins this game 3-2. They take 2 out of 3 in the series, which is absolutely massive for them to do in Houston against a team that's leading the division. Still, a somber season for Seattle. Certainly has not been as good as it's needed to be from them. Brian Wu, a clutch start out of him. 6 innings, a 3-hit ball, 2 earned, 1 walk, and 5 strikeouts. Really good performance for him, especially on the road compared to his normal road numbers. Not as good as he is at home. Hunter Brown, 5 innings of 2-hit ball, 2 earned, 5 walks, and 5 strikeouts. Randy Arozarena, and yep, believe it, Cal Raleigh hit a home run in this game. It's only his 12th home run of the year. Keep that in mind of when he hit his 12th home run last season. Crazy stuff out of Cal Raleigh. Mariners have the off day on Monday before they head to Milwaukee for a tough series on Tuesday. Astros are going to welcome the Angels into town. That starts on Tuesday as well. Javi, this has been such a down spell for the Mariners. Compared to what they were last year, it's never gotten going for them throughout the entire season. Do you give any chance for them to catch Houston in this division, or do you think that race is over?
I think you have to give them a chance just by product of not just their division, but the American League in general. And because they have good pitching, I still know that Julio Rodriguez, every year, he does that thing in the second half. So I want to give them a chance, but it is not strong enough for me to be confident about it whatsoever.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you on that. The inconsistency has been the problem with this team all year. And honestly, offensively, it's been Randy Arozarena and nobody else that's contributed to that team on offense throughout the entire year. Let's go to the Brewers and the Dodgers. Brewers sit 77-48, Dodgers 74-51. Milwaukee wins the game 6-2. They win 3 out of 4 in LA after playing poorly in San Diego the week before, the earlier in the week, to win the series in LA and take 3 out of 4. Now, I know it's a struggling Dodgers team, which, by the way, currently, as presently constituted, sits in a wild card spot. The Los Angeles Dodgers. Think about that. They would not have a first-round bye if the playoffs started today. Milwaukee taking 3 out of 4 has to have people like Chuck Freeman of the Locked On Brewers podcast in a great mood. Let's hear what he had to say.
After losing those 3 games in San Diego, man, how many people thought that this was going to be a disastrous series in Los Angeles? But the Brewers turned it around against the Dodgers. Hey, everybody, Chuck Freeman, Rapid Reaction. Locked On Brewers. You never count these guys out. And yeah, the Brewers took 3 of 4 from LA, but I don't want to hear anything about, did they close the gap on the Dodgers? Let's not even go there. Let's just enjoy these 3 wins they got against these guys. Took advantage of some bad Dodger defense. Dodgers didn't hit. The Brewer pitching, that had something to do with it? Probably. Logan Henderson, his longest start of the year, 7 innings, 3 hits, gives up the 1 run. And Jake Rake Bowers, 4 hits today, and he was the offensive cog. Yeah, pitchers duels really in all these games, and the Brewers took advantage kind of a lifeless Dodger team. Now, them losing 3 of 4 to Milwaukee, they're not going to lose any sleep over it, but it's going to be a happy ride home for the Brewers as they open up a series with the Mariners at AmFam Field beginning on Tuesday night. We'll talk about all this early Monday morning on the next edition of Locked On Brewers. Please subscribe.
Logan Henderson goes 7 innings of 3-hit ball, 1 earned, 1 walk, and 6 Ks on the day. Tarek Skubal for the Dodgers, 6 innings, 7 hits, only 1 earned though, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. Jake Bowers went 4 for 4, had 2 RBIs on the day, and Jackson Churio had 2 RBIs as well. Dodgers are going to head to Colorado. They'll take on the Rockies Monday. Brewers will head back and welcome the Mariners into town. Now, I do want to discuss that because I do agree with the opinion Chuck had. This isn't a series the Dodgers are going to lose sleep over. They lost 3 out of 4. It's fine. The Dodgers just feel like they're in a rest period until they get to the postseason. That's how they're operating. And you know what? They're two-time defending champs. They've earned the right to operate that way. But I think this is a huge series for Milwaukee, not only because you beat the Dodgers and can look back on this series in a month or so if you play them in the postseason, but this gives you the confidence to know you can play this team and not be afraid of them come October when you likely could wind up facing them.
Absolutely. Although I will push back a little bit. It has been a long enough period that it's like a little bit of concern if you're a Dodgers fans. They're booing Kyle Tucker for some comments he made and also just being a really bad player this year. So you do want to see something. That being said, they got a month left, but like if a month from now, which I don't see coming, if they're still playing this way, then we can be concerned. But if I'm a Dodgers fan, I'm like, just give me just a little bit. But otherwise, Terry Skubal, great game, right? Like you still want to see that from him, and I think that's
you're not a biased Padres fan, so I don't have to state don't be biased here. But hear me out. Is there a singular team the Dodgers could play in the National League in the first round of the postseason that they wouldn't be favored over?
No.
Exactly. So point taken there. I don't think they're afraid of anybody. With who they're going to throw out there pitching-wise, bullpen-wise, their lineup, they'll be fine, and I think they're just waiting to get themselves to October. Let's go to the Diamondbacks, who are 66-59 at the Braves, who are 74-50. Atlanta wins this game 5-3. They also take 2 out of 3 in this series. Great job out of them from a Diamondbacks team that was surging coming into this series. Yeah. Michael Soroka went 5 2/3 of 6 hit ball, 2 earned, 1 walk, and 5 Ks. Bryce Elder went 6 innings of 4 hit ball, 1 earned, 1 walk, and 5 strikeouts. Matt Olson had a 3-run homer in the 7th inning. Ronald Acuna Jr. also drove in a run. Diamondbacks head to Boston to take on the Red Sox. That's an awesome series. And the Braves will head to Minnesota to play the Twins on Monday. I do want to ask you this really quickly because of what the Diamondbacks have been able to do over the last really month now. I mean, they were kind of an obsolete team that really no one was paying much attention to throughout the most of the season. And now this team has entered themselves right back into the chat of the postseason. Do you see this team getting into the postseason, or do you think it falls off? Because the talent's certainly not there, but they've played great baseball over the last month.
I do wonder if they don't think they're making it because they didn't go that heavy at the deadline. I'm not blaming them for it because they have had a lot of injuries, with Corbin Burns being a big one, and their offense, the deeper statistics about them are like, wait, they're this good? They've been surging at the right time, but I'm wondering if management is like, love our season, let's not go all in this year, though. I do think that they are a team that's going to fight, and don't underestimate them. They are one of those teams that not only beat the Phillies famously to make the World Series, but they also beat the Dodgers before too. So they aren't afraid of anybody.
Only issue, under 500 on the road. They have a really good home record, but you can't, you got to sort of play even when it comes to those kind of things. The run differential is really good. That is a key for them. We're going to see, because the National League and American League, those wild card spots, this is the first year in a while you've had so many teams involved in the last wild card spot. It's going to be really, really competitive down the stretch. Let's go to the Yankees, who are 66-55 at the Blue Jays, who are 61-65. Yankees win this game 4-3 in 10 innings. Toronto wins 2 out of 3. A little bit of upsetting loss for the Blue Jays in this last game because you had a chance to win it, and they had such a poor start to the season, Javi. They need to win every game they can possibly have a chance of winning because they currently sit 4 games under 500, but that American League wild card is so rough right now. It's going to be really hard for them to get in. They currently sit a game out of the wild card because Baltimore has gotten themselves into the wild card right now. If the American League playoffs started today, 4 out of the 5 teams in the American League East would be in the postseason. Think about how good that division has been and how bad the rest of the divisions of the American League have been. Ryan Weathers in this game went 7 1/3 of 6 hit ball, 1 earned, 1 walk, and 4 strikeouts. Dylan Cease went 6 1/3 of 2 hit ball, 2 earned, 3 walks, 10 Ks on the day. Ben Rice had a 2-run shot, top of the 10th, that broke an extra inning tie after the Blue Jays tied the game in the 9th. Yankees have the off day on Monday. They'll take on those Orioles, who are playing really good baseball on Tuesday. Blue Jays will take on the Rays starting on Tuesday. I would feel this way about this game, but I want to know how you feel. Is it too little too late for the Toronto Blue Jays?
I think so. And also, if I'm a Blue Jays fan, do I even want to be in there? Our best player is bad. Our second best player, you could argue, left, and then the third best player, he's old. The broken body is just breaking down in the case of Vladdy, Bo Bichette, and George Springer, respectively. I just don't see it. Love Dylan Cease and Ryan Weathers too. 2 former Padres, by the way.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. Like, what are you going to do if you get there? They're not hot at the right time. And if Blue Jays fans care about anything, if I'm them, I just like Vladdy, show me something is all I care about if I'm a Blue Jays fan.
Yeah, nice reset the Blue Jays seem to seemingly need. But both teams that were in the American League Championship Series last year have just had utter opposites of 2026s than they did in 2025. The Mariners and the Blue Jays, just awful baseball out of those two teams. Let's go to the Royals and the Angels, the best pitching performance of the weekend. 51-74 for the Royals, Angels 49-76. Kansas City wins this game 3-0, and they take 2 out of 3 in the series. Noah Cameron, Javi, 9 innings of 1 hit ball, no earned, 1 walk, and 8 Ks. How many complete game shutouts do we see in baseball nowadays? 1 hitters to that. I mean, it's very, very rare nowadays. Ryan Johnson for the Angels went 5 1/3, a 5 hit ball, 2 earned, 2 walks, 4 Ks. Michael Massey, Bobby Witt Jr. both hit home runs in this game. Royals welcome the Athletics into Kansas City on Tuesday. The Angels will head to Houston for a series that also starts on Tuesday. Sunday, the Cubs and the Cardinals played it, and Shota was on the mound. We'll be talking about that next. Let's talk about one of the most underrated organs in your body, your liver. It's your body's filter that processes everything that you consume and performs more than 500 functions every single day. It's involved in things like energy production, digestion, fat metabolism, and vitamin storage, so it's doing a lot of work behind the scenes. That's why giving your liver daily support can be an important part of building healthy habits. Dose for Your Liver is a clinically backed liver health supplement designed to support daily liver function. And unlike other capsules or drinking another powder, Dose comes as a liquid 2-ounce daily shot that tastes like freshly squeezed orange juice. It's zero sugar with zero junk and 0 calories, making it an easy addition to your daily routine. I'd probably take Dose first thing in the morning. I already have a routine where I'm grabbing coffee, checking my phone, and getting ready for the day, so it would just fit right in my schedule. It's one of those things that's so quick, you don't really have to think about it. You just do it and move on. Ready to give your liver the support that it needs? Head over to dailydose.com/LockedOnMLB or enter Locked on MLB to get 35% off your first subscription. Your body does so much for you. Let's do something for it. That's DOSEDAILY.com/LockedOnMLB for 35% off your first month's subscription. And Locked on MLB Game Night is also brought to you by Stance. It's time for the Everyday Icon presented by Stance. As the official sock partner of Major League Baseball, Stance knows greatness isn't built in a single moment. It's earned over time through consistency, preparation, and showing up every single day. That's why each week we're recognizing one player whose performance embodies those same qualities. This week's Everyday Icon is Noah Cameron, a complete game shutout, only 1 hit in the game, the best pitching performance of the weekend, maybe of the month, to be honest with you. That's how good he was for the Kansas City Royals. The Everyday Icon is presented by Stance. Check out the Icon collection from Stance. It's premium comfort, performance, and durability designed for whatever your day brings. You can use promo code LOCKEDON at checkout for 20% off your purchase. Stance is the official sock partner of Major League Baseball. You can learn more at stance.com. So I did mention Shota was going for the Cubs. He actually wasn't. It was moved back a day. Edward Cabrera went for the Cubs in the game against the Cardinals. Didn't really matter because the 63-61 Cardinals beat the Cubs, who are 72-53, 11-4. St. Louis also takes 2 out of 3 in Wrigley, which is a really impressive. We've been talking about this the last couple of weeks. It feels like St. Louis has fallen themselves out of the standings, Javi, and they just won't go away, this team. They're sticking themselves in the NL wildcard spot. JD Hafford of the Locked On Cardinals podcast has to feel good about his team that's won 4 out of their last 5.
The St. Louis Cardinals dominate the Chicago Cubs on Sunday with an 11-4 victory to take the series in Chicago. Hey, it's JD from Locked On Cardinals, and man, oh man, does this offense like to hit at Wrigley Field. I don't know if it's the Cubs pitching or it's just the environment of Wrigley Field, but they've outscored the Cubs 43-18 at Wrigley Field this year, which is insane. Huge days for Alec Burleson and Jordan Walker. They combined for 6 hits, 2 home runs, and 8 RBIs on the day. Big story from Saturday was Joshua Baez and his 3 home runs in his first 3 at-bats. He goes 0 for 5 on Sunday, so he is human after all. But the offense rallies without him. It was fun to watch. That's 4 straight series wins for the Cardinals now. 9 wins in their last 13. Still hanging around in that NL wild card. For the latest updates and info, be sure to keep it Locked On Cardinals.
Now, about a quarter of the National League is still fighting for that final NL wildcard spot. But for what it's worth, the Cardinals only sit 3.5 games out of that final spot. Very doable for them if they want to find their way into the postseason. Full disclosure, I don't think they will get into the postseason. Javi, would you agree with that?
Absolutely. But I want to give him a shout out. We talk about Jordan Walker a lot on the show every time we've been doing game night because of the home run derby and all that stuff. But JJ Weatherholt, not to be too much of a nerd on Maine, but 21 outs above average and 13 defensive runs saved. might be a platinum glove winner by the end of the year.
Yeah, great rookie year for him. Hunter Dobbins went 5 innings of 2 hit balls, 2 earned, 4 walks, and 7 strikeouts in the day. Edward Cabrera, 3 2/3 of 6 hit balls, 7 earned, 3 walks, and 2 Ks. That trade is not working out for the Cubs this year. Alec Burleson and Jordan Walker, like you just said, both homered in the game. They also both had 3 hits, and they both had 4 RBIs. So pretty cool stuff for the Cardinals there. Cubs welcome the White Sox into Wrigley. That starts on Monday. Cardinals head to Cincinnati on Monday. The Phillies 67-58 at the Twins, who are 60-65. Philly wins this game 7-5 and completes the 3-0 sweep over the Twins, who have lost 4 out of the last 5. Let's hear from Connor Thomas of the Locked On Phillies podcast on this victory.
What a comeback win for the Fightin'. 7-5 over the Twins out in Minnesota. They complete the sweep. It was just a great effort by them. Down early, and they could have easily mailed it in. Hey, we already won the series. We got a long flight back to the East Coast. No, they didn't give up. Alec Bohm, a big-time 3-run homer, which really made it feel like a game. To me, that's the biggest at-bat of the game, was him doing that. And then Brian De La Cruz coming up big with the bases loaded to put the Phils up. This was something that you didn't expect from the Phillies, the way that they've been playing lately. Their first sweep in over 2 months. It just shows you how inconsistent they've been this year, but they really needed this. And coming off the heels of that series in St. Louis, where they just did not look good in any way, this is much more encouraging for the Phillies. Now they get back home. They get a chance to improve on a home record that should be much better this year. But you got to feel good coming off of that in Minnesota. Maybe there's some magic left yet for this team. We'll talk a lot more about it on the next episode of Locked On Phillies.
When I've been discussing the National League wildcard spot with you guys and the one final spot that's remaining in it, that's because I've included the Cubs locked into that 1 spot and the Phillies locked into that 2 spot. I think it comes down to this, Javi. There is too much talent on this Phillies roster to miss the postseason. Now, we've seen more talented rosters in sports miss before, but it would be an utter shock to me if this team doesn't find a way to get into the wild card at that 2nd spot at this point.
Yeah, they made some attempts at the deadline, right? Like they bring in Luis Ariz, a nice change of pace bat who could just hit you the singles. You've got the power in your Harper Schwarbers and all those guys. So I could see it. And they're definitely just get in, because the fact that you can throw Sanchez and then Wheeler and then Luzardo, one of the most underrated starters in the league, they're a team that postseason I actually think will be better than regular season for them. I think. We'll see.
In that order, too, because you'd want Luzardo on the road at that point, which is so weird how much better he is in the road. Like the home road splits usually work the opposite, where you're great at home and awful on the road. No, he's the exact opposite. He can't pitch in the bank, but he is great anywhere else. So yeah, you'd want Luzardo in that game 3 spot. Andrew Painter in this game went 5 innings of 6 hit ball, 5 earned, 3 walks, and 2 Ks. He's probably fighting with Aaron Nola for that last playoff starter spot for the Philadelphia Phillies. And Dean Kramer, 5 1/3 of 5 hit ball, 4 earned, 2 walks, 2 Ks. Brian De La Cruz had a 2-run single in the 8th inning. Phillies erased a 5-run deficit in this game. Alec Bohm also had 4 RBIs, and he's really picked it up over the last week or so. Phillies welcome the Marlins into town on Monday. The Twins welcome the Braves into Minnesota. Red Sox 66-58 at the Pirates, who are 61-65. Pittsburgh wins this game 8-3. They take 2 out of 3 from Boston, who has significantly cooled off in the last 2 weeks compared to what Boston was doing prior. Now, the run was historical, what they were doing in July, but Javi, it's been a complete. They've cooled off to an extreme degree. Now, I think their run was good enough to get them into the postseason, but this team has cooled off significantly. Do you feel like this is what they are, or are they somewhere in between where they were playing?
That's a great question, man. I don't really know, because they're one of those teams where, like, yeah, I don't think that they were that good, but I don't think that they were as bad as they were at the beginning of the year. But I would like to see their best players come back and do something. The ones that we all had expectations for, including the one that they traded for in Adley Rutschman. Like, if that turns around, then I'm like, okay, this is a little bit more legit. But just relying on a Wilson Contreras being like the superhuman guy and early and all those guys, I'd like to see a little bit more from the actual stars. But otherwise, regardless, I mean, great run. You know what I mean? Like, you got to at least be happy if you're a Boston fan.
Patrick Sandoval went 4 innings of 9 hit ball, 7 earned, 3 walks, 6 Ks in the day. Lake Bachelor goes 3 innings of 2 hit ball, no earned, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Brian Reynolds, Brandon Lau, and Nick York all had 2 RBIs on the day. Red Sox head back home. They'll welcome the Diamondbacks into town. Again, great series. I mean, if you're a baseball like nerd, like this series has Javi Reyes, no offense, written all over it. Red Sox D-backs, with the way these two teams are playing, this isn't the sexy marquee matchup that's all over national television. But if you're like a baseball purist, this is a really good baseball matchup in this series.
Absolutely.
Again, did not mean any offense towards you in that there. Pirates are going to welcome the Tigers. into town on Monday. White Sox 65-58. The Tigers, who are 60-64. Chicago wins this game 7-5, and they sweep the Tigers 3-0, who are playing good baseball coming in. White Sox have now lost 4 out of their last 5. Tigers now have lost 4 out of the last 5. Not great. I don't know what winds up happening here with Detroit. They are one of the teams that's still considered in the hunt in the wild card. It is very weird, though, where their record's at, Javi. They're 4 games under 500, but have a plus 88 run differential. How is that even possible, what they're doing? It's crazy how their run differential, they have the run differential of a first-place team, and yet somehow they're currently not in a playoff spot and likely not going to make the postseason.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, when you look at the wild card standings, the only teams that have positive run differentials are the Yankees, Red Sox, and Tigers. Orioles, Rangers, Blue Jays, Twins, Guardians, Seattle, all of them are negative. Like, it's unbelievable that they are. It's remarkable. And if you're a Tigers fan, it hurts even more, considering that you gave up all your guys. Like, you would think, hey, can we at least just make it to feel better about ourselves? But they're having a tough time. But remember, still just one game, really tight race.
One of those guys you gave up on, Casey Mize, so we'll talk about next, had a really good performance. Munetaka Murakami in this game had a go-ahead homer in the 7th inning for the White Sox. Drew Romo also had 2 RBIs. White Sox head across town to Wrigley to take on the Cubs Monday. Tigers will head to Pittsburgh on Monday. And the Rangers 61-64 at the Athletics, who are 49-75. Sacramento, Oakland, Vegas, whatever we're calling them, they won the game 5-2. They took 2 out of 3 in the series. Rangers have now lost 5 out of the last 6. This team refuses to get themselves in the match. Like, the Astros are giving them every chance to stay in the divisional race, and the Rangers just refuse to do it. Cody Bradford, 4 innings of 8 hit ball, 2 earned, 1 walk, and 4 strikeouts. Jacob Lopez, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned, 2 walks, 6 Ks. Zach Geloff and Lawrence Butler both hit 2 home runs in the game. Tommy White hit also his first career home run. Rangers will have the off day on Monday. They'll welcome the Nationals into town, and the A's will head to Kansas City on Monday. Freddie Peralta looked to get right back on the right track for his team in Tampa. We'll be talking about that and Javi's Padres next. There's nothing like getting to a major league game, especially down the stretch, and Gametime has it available. The only problem can be getting tickets. It can feel like an absolute grind. Between the long queues, surprise fees, and prices jumping at checkout, that's where the Gametime app comes in. It gives fans the advantage with constant innovation. It's how you can unlock amazing tickets and experiences within just a few taps. Plus, it's super simple to use. The Gametime guarantee means you get 100% authentic tickets that are delivered on time at the best prices possible. And here's the best part. The fees are included in the price you see. What you see is what you pay, period. You can follow your favorite team and get alerts when new deals drop. I've seen some tickets drop to as low as $10. 2 taps, it's done. There's no stress. There's no hidden fees. It's just great seats available to your phone in minutes. That's what makes it so easy to decide last minute to hit up a game. So take the guesswork out of buying Major League Baseball tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app today, create an account, and use code ONEWORD-LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms will apply. Again, create that account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. So the Orioles and the Rays, huge series for these two teams. Baltimore is now 61-63. The Rays 74-49. Baltimore wins this game 10-2. They're up 3-0 in the series. These two teams will finish off the series on Monday. It's a 4-game set going Friday to Monday, but Baltimore's taken the first 3 games and has gotten themselves into that final wild card spot for the American League. Just crazy stuff with how good the Orioles have played of late. They've also won 4 out of their last 5 games. Trevor Rogers went 6 innings of 7 hit ball, 2 earned, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts. Freddie Peralta, 4 2/3 of 1 hit ball, 2 earned, 3 walks, 2 Ks. No length, but certainly gave him a better performance than what he's given them so far. Colton Cowser had a 2-run homer. Christian Encarnacion Strand also had a 3-run double, and the Orioles 7 runs in the 6th inning for them. Jackson Holiday also had 3 RBIs. These two teams finish up on Monday. Javi, do the Orioles get into the postseason? If I make you give me an answer, what do you say right now?
I'm going to say no, because I'm just believing that it matters. You guys don't have starting pitching that I trust. That being said, it would be pretty funny if Pete Alonso's team makes it, despite all the bad, instead of that other team that hasn't been doing all that well.
Yeah. He's had a really good year for them, too. It's weird how you can pretty much pencil in Pete Alonso every year of his career to go 30-100 and play pretty much every day. He's on his way to doing that again for Baltimore. It doesn't matter what his team does. He's going to do that production every single year. Padres 67-58 at the Guardians, who are 60-65. San Diego wins this game 5-0, and they take 2 out of 3, and they've won 7 out of their last 8 games. It's incredible stuff out of the Padres with how they've played. This team has done a complete turnaround from where they were at the start of the season. They're scoring runs. They're playing effective baseball. It's unbelievable how much this team's turned things around. Casey Mize went 6 innings of 3 hit ball, no earned, 1 walk, and 3 strikeouts. His best start as a Padre by far. Tanner Bybee, 6 innings of 7 hit ball, 3 earned, 3 walks, and 3 Ks. Padres had RBIs across the entire lineup in this game. Luis Rengifo, Gavin Sheets, Xander Bogaerts, Jake Cronenworth. It was across the entire lineup doing something in this game. They'll head to New York. They'll take on the struggling Mets, and the Guardians will have the off day on Monday before welcoming the Giants into town on Tuesday. Javi, I think the Padres are going into the postseason. I really do. I think the 3 teams making the National League playoffs right now in the wild card are going to be the Cubs, the Phillies, and the Padres. That's how good of baseball this Padres team has played. I'm almost borderline speechless with how good this stretch has been now for the last pretty much month now.
Yeah, everybody out there, I recommend just go follow your favorite analyst because we're getting to the point where this is becoming a little historic. A negative 43 run differential at the All-Star break. They are now +3. Worst offense, best offense. I understand they had the talent. I totally get that. But to get this good, obviously you have the starting pitching too, but it is one of the better turnarounds. Bias aside, I genuinely mean that I have ever seen watching baseball.
We bring up run differential a lot, and I think it's worth noting why we do that. Because historically, when you look at the history of baseball, the best teams, the ones that make runs in the postseason, are the ones who have positive run differentials and significantly positive run differentials. It is extremely rare. And just the way the game is designed, but really in all sports, you can follow this. Negative run differential teams, scoring differential teams, however you want to look at it, those teams extremely rarely wind up winning championships. It just doesn't happen. So the Padres, even if they were playing good baseball in the last month or so, it was really hard to have a lot of confidence in them when the run differential is in the -40s. We're not talking -5, -40s. It's hard to come back from that. But now you look at this team that's sitting in the pluses in run differential and significantly, and it keeps rising. It almost feels like this team just was not playing its capabilities in the first half of the season, and now they're playing more to what they are. And maybe they're hotter than they normally are right now. But this team has picked things up, has figured things out, has turned things around, and you know the talent on this roster. I would not want to play this team in a first-round series, honestly.
Absolutely, and they're not afraid of anybody. They've beat those Dodgers before. I granted it was in 2022. And the biggest thing against them, they're going to regress because they don't have starting pitching. Well, now they do with Casey Mize, who had a great game today, and Robbie Ray. And they also have potentially Joe Musgrove and Nick Pivetta coming back soon. So, there's not a lot of weaknesses on this team. It is something to behold, man. Seriously.
Yeah. Do you wish they made more moves at the deadline as a Padre fan retrospectively right now?
No, I think that he decided, look, it would literally have taken something pretty historic, but he went for it. And I think this is why AJ Preller and company are so much fun, because this team just refuses to quit. And I know you Dodgers fans out there. I know you win all the time. I know you guys are a little bit annoyed that the roach is crawling back to life to bother you yet again.
Let's go to the Nationals, 60-66 at the Mets, who are 56-69. New York wins this game 4-3, and they sweep the Nats 3-0. Let's hear from Ryan Finkelstein of the Locked On Mets podcast. They beat the Nationals to have lost 5 out of the last 6.
The New York Mets finish off their sweep of the Washington Nationals, and they do so with a great team win. You had solid defense, just enough hitting, and the pitching was really strong as well. Christian Scott pitching to the 7th inning, and then the bullpen holding on to a 1-run lead. All of a sudden, the Mets have some real lockdown relievers to close out games. This is Ryan Finkelstein, the host of Locked On Mets, and again, it really was just a great team win for the Mets. You saw Carson Bench crashing the wall to make 1 catch, sliding to make another. You saw Jared Young making play after play over at first base. Francisco Lindor making a nice play with the bare hand. Just a really good game on that end for the Mets. And again, the pitching was really strong as well. For Nate Lavender to come in with 2 runners on, a 1-run lead in the 7th inning to get the 2 outs, going up against C.J. Abrams, who's one of the best hitters in baseball this year, and Ortiz, the rookie, who was red hot. Really impressive pair of outs for Lavender to get. Daniel Duarte has become automatic in that 8th inning, and Kodai Senga breezed through the 9th for his 3rd save, and his first save where he was protecting just a 1-run lead. The Mets got plenty of offense as well, or at least certainly enough offense. Luis Torrens with the big home run that carried the day, but also a RBI hit from Jared Young that ended up being the game winner for the Mets. Great victory as they sweep the Nationals, and now they will take on the Padres to finish off this homestand.
7-3 in their last 10 for the Mets. They've played better baseball, but certainly a tougher competition with the Padres coming in this series. They're going to welcome them into Citi Field. The Nationals are going to head to Texas. They'll take on the Rangers on Monday. The Marlins 64-61 at the Reds, who are 59-64. Miami wins this game 7-1, and they take 2 out of 3 in the series. Yuri Perez went 6 innings of 2-hit ball, no earned, 5 walks and 5 strikeouts. Nick Lodolo, who's been really good of late, 5 innings, 3 hits, no earned, 2 walks, 2 Ks. Herberto Hernandez and Javier Sanoja both hit home runs in the 8th and 9th innings. A run wasn't scored in this game until the 8th inning, so really good starting pitching performances both of these teams. The Marlins head to Philly Monday. Reds welcome the Cardinals into town on Monday. Do the Reds qualify as one of the more upsetting stories in all of baseball this year?
Yeah, absolutely, because they do have stuff. Obviously, we know Elliot Cruz, but a Nick Lodolo, right? They have him, and they have Hunter
Sal
Green.
Stewart.
They have some Sal Stewart. Like, they have good players. I thought maybe a Matt McClain back in the day, Spencer Steer. Unfortunately, they are a lot more top-heavy, I think, than people at least were hopeful for.
And finally, the Rockies 50-74 at the Giants, who are 51-73. Colorado wins this game 13-7, and they take 2 out of 3 in the series. They've won 4 out of the last 5 too, playing really good baseball. Gabriel Hughes went 4 innings of 8 hit balls, 7 earned, 1 walk and 2 strikeouts. Blake Tidwell went 4 1/3 of 3 hit balls, 6 earned, 5 walks and a strikeout. Mickey Moniak, Brett Sullivan, and Adiel Amador had 3 RBIs each in this game. Rockies are going to welcome the Dodgers into town on Monday. The Giants will head to Cleveland for a series that starts on Tuesday. We want to thank you guys for joining us for this episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We hope you'll come back and visit us next time on Locked On MLB Game Night. It's every single game, every single night.